Hi critters, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For this week's video we are going to be heading to the dollar store. We're going to scour the aisles for some unconventional supplies so that I can teach you how to make your own kimono Mimi ears on a budget. So the two biggest challenges that this week's project is going to pose are going to be 1, painting the ears naturally without an airbrush, and 2, cutting the ears without clippers. I have 2 different things that I'm going to try. The first is going to be using scissors to cut them, and hopefully I can cut them nice enough. The second is to cut them and then use a razor, like for shaving your legs, to try and get it nice and clean. So hopefully one of those 2 things will work. I'm also a little bit worried that we're gonna go to the store to buy the supplies and they're not gonna have anything that we need, because it's very possible that that could happen. Right now we're outside of our local dollar store. And we're just about to head inside, but before we do, I have a couple of notes to go over. The first is the things that we need while we're in there. We're gonna need fur, wire, foam, a headband, X-Acto knives, spray bottles, paint, painter's tape, razors, and decor to decorate the ears. And there's also a few things in there that I'm not gonna get because they tend to be things people generally already have in their homes, but if you don't already have these, you're gonna need them, and you can get them at your local dollar store. And those things are Scotch tape, a glue gun, glue stick, scissors, a comb or brush, and pliers. The other thing is that especially in Canada, they sometimes don't let us record inside stores, so we're gonna have to be a little bit stealthy while we're in there, and we might be a little quiet, and probably a voiceover likely, because it's probably gonna be loud in there and they likely have music playing. Let's go. I am back from picking up all of the supplies. Full disclosure, I don't know if this is gonna work. It's very possible that these could come out looking like hot garbage. I also want to recognize that I know some of these supplies are probably not going to be available to everyone. We actually went to the Dollar Tree initially to buy our supplies, but they didn't have anything that we were looking for, not a single thing. So we ended up going to the dollar store instead, and they ended up having everything that we needed. So I think it's pretty much just dealer's choice and what kind of stores are available to you. We're right now doing a challenge to specifically buy everything from the dollar store. So that's why we are confined to buying things from the dollar store. If you are doing this, you're not confined to one space. You can get your supplies anywhere, wherever is cheapest for you, wherever is easiest, even just a thrift store. And the last thing before we start, this project cost us exactly $34.20 Canadian. In the US, it would be approximately $23.17. I'm ready to start. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna decide on the animal type that I wanna make. I decided that I wanna make some small cat ears, and that would be the same as what I'm wearing right now. The reason I'm choosing to make cat ears is because I'm not gonna be selling these ears. Likely, they probably aren't gonna turn out the highest quality. Certainly not something I would wanna be selling to someone. I want them to be my aesthetic, and my aesthetic is cutesy cats. So that's the aesthetic that we're gonna be going with for today's video. So a pattern comes in 5 different pieces. Those pieces include the wire foam piece, which is slightly smaller than the rest of the pattern. And then 4 other pieces: front right, back right, front left, and back left. And if you'll notice on them, all of the arrows go in a different direction. That is because that's the direction that we want the fur to sit. I'm also gonna go over the supplies that I bought versus the supplies I didn't purchase. My local dollar store did not have foam, but they did have felt sheets. So instead of foam for the inside, I'm gonna be using a felt sheet. We got this rug. I got a headband. This is a metal headband with beads on it, so I'm gonna remove the beads and I'm just gonna use the headband. I got some flowers to decorate, some zip ties to stick them to the headband, some glittery gems to decorate, wire, our razors, a spray bottle and paint, painter's tape, some ribbon for decorating, and an X-Acto knife. As for supplies that I didn't purchase at the store but we're gonna need for this project, things that the general person tends to have in their home, if you don't have these things, you are going to need them. So make sure that you pick them up while you are at the dollar store. All things can be purchased there. A brush. This is specifically an animal brush, which I do recommend for when you're using fur, but you can also just use a regular comb if your local store doesn't sell brushes like this. A glue gun and glue sticks. Pliers, and then scissors and scotch tape. Okay, these are all of our supplies and we are ready to get started. First, I'm gonna open up our felt squares and I'm gonna find the white one. I should have mentioned at some point as well that you are going to need a pen or a pencil. So now I'm just gonna trace out my wire and foam piece of my pattern and then I'm gonna cut it out. So we have our 2 pieces of felt now, and until now I did not consider that the tape is probably not gonna stick to these. So when you tape it, make sure that you tape around and tape the tape to itself so that it stays long enough for us to get some hot glue on it. Now I'm opening up my wire. I'm gonna measure out how long the wire needs to be, and I'm gonna cut 2 of the same length. Hi! Now I'm going to just bend the wire as best as I can into this shape, and then I'm going to tape the wire to the felt. Welcome back. Okay, so we have these made and now they have wire around them. For now, we're gonna set these aside and we are going to get our fur. First, before I do anything, I'm gonna seam rip the side and I'm gonna see what the fur looks like on the inside. It's possible there could be nothing. So this is really good. On the inside, it is just a normal fur. So this padded bit, we can just take right off. Not only is this just regular fur on the inside, but it's also super good quality fur. I'm gonna take all 4 pieces of my pattern and I'm gonna lay them out. I'm gonna find the direction that the fur goes. So the fur goes this way. We want all of our arrows to point that way. Using my pencil, I'm gonna trace around the pattern. Our pattern is laid down on our fabric and now we're gonna use our X-Acto knife and we're gonna cut out our pattern. Please be careful with these if you are using them. If you are a child, ask an adult for help because these things are so insanely sharp. They can really do some damage. We have our 4 pieces cut out now, and we can set the fur that we bought aside because we won't be using any more of it for the rest of the video. Our 2 pieces of wire are going to get put inside of here, and all we want to do is hot glue them. But we're gonna hot glue to the front first. If you watched my last video, you know why. So the front, we want to do glue all over it, and then we want to stick it to the fur and we want to press it down. We're going to do that to both sides. For the back piece, when we glue it on, we want to do a little dollop on the top, align the fur pieces and squeeze them together, and we're going to do the same on the other side. Instead of doing the full back, we're going to just do the side, squeeze, and then we're gonna just do the other side. If you watched my last video, you'll know that that's because later on, when we attach the ears to the headband, we need this spot open for our zip ties to sit. Now we want to open up our seams and we want to glue in here. Make sure to get it nice and close to the edge. And now we want to do the same to the other side and to the other ear. They're all glued together and we now have what seems to be kind of a pair of ears. I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm just gonna clean up the edges where the glue is showing. I'm not sure how well you can see on this camera up here, but our edge is nice and flat and clean. This is the front of the ear, as you can see, because our fur goes this way. We wanna separate the front part of the fur that we wanna keep and that we wanna cut. So I am going to be cutting off this triangular area. First, I'm gonna use my scissors and I'm gonna cut out as much as I can of this spot. Okay, so if you can see, it's very choppy, but we're gonna go in with our razor and see if we can clean some of that up. This is my very first time trying this, so hopefully it works. The fronts are done on both of them, and now I'm gonna trim the length of the fur around here. We wanna do this part by brushing the fur up all the way around like that, and then cutting across And then when we brush it back down, it won't be choppy. I've trimmed down the back a little bit so that it's a little bit more of a fade than just a big poof of fur. It took me 2 razors, but we did it. Now I'm just gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna sculpt around the fur very slowly and carefully. I'm really just doing a lot of cleanup of the excess fur around the edges, cleaning up the seam, and just getting rid of all of the stuff that doesn't look good, any hard bits of glue, you know, all of that stuff. I'm done cutting them, and they are actually turning out very well. If you're making these, I would recommend stopping at this point, but I want to test out like a DIY airbrush technique, and I'm sure it's not going to work, but we're going to try it and see how it goes. I want to do pink, so I bought pink paint, and then I have this spray bottle. I filled it about halfway with water, and I'm going to put a little more paint in it, and ideally, you would want this to be like a milky texture. It's very runny, but it's also very thick, which we don't want. That's a little bit better. It's still like very watery. Okay, it holds really, really well to this. So I'm thinking that maybe it will hold really well to fur. That looks really good. Before I do anything, I want to locate where I would like the paint to sit. And I'm gonna use my painter's tape to tape off everywhere else. They are taped. I'm gonna lay down this old towel. I know I have the plastic down to protect the table, but the towel is gonna absorb the excess of the paint and it's gonna prevent it from soaking into the back of the ears. Moment of truth. I'm nervous. Is anyone else nervous? Here we go. Okay, it's a little uneven. I'm gonna turn it and I'm gonna press it down into the towel. It took all of it. Oh my God. Okay, let's try that again. Do it until fully colored. Okay, I was pretty heavy with it. And now I'm gonna set them aside for half hour, maybe. See if they dry all the way through, and then I'll remove the tape and we'll see where we can go from there. All right, so after about 20 minutes with the blow dryer, they are mostly dry. So if you do this project, just be aware that they take a long time to dry. I think I want to do a little spritz on the front right here. This is a risk. Instead of taping it off though, I'm going to use a piece of paper and I'm going to just slide it underneath the fur. Oh, see, that's bad. That looks bad. That looks really bad. But maybe, since it's so watery, take this and I dab it, it'll lighten it. It like completely removed it. But maybe if I do this a couple more times, it'll slowly dye it. I'm gonna blow dry it. So we just have some little bit of color on the front. We've got 2 ears now that are painted. I am done with the painting, but I will be completely honest. I am not happy with the way that it looks. I could be a lot more unhappy with the way that it looks, but I do think that they would have looked better if I kept them white. But that's not the point of the video. The point of the video is to test and see if I can make a pair of ears that are high quality out of dollar store products. I'm gonna set the ears aside for now and I'm gonna prep our headband. This headband is so cute. I may get one of these just to wear, but for now, we unfortunately have to get rid of all the beads. These beads will be repurposed and used in other things. Now we have a nice clean headband to use. All 4 of our zip ties are on, and now I'm gonna cut them off to be nice and short so that they can fit behind our ears. That little metal tail that we had on the inside, mine are really short, so I'm just gonna bend it inwards, but usually they have to be cut off. Zip ties in the back of the headband, and then we're gonna pack some hot glue around the zip ties. I'm gonna give these a minute to let the glue set, and while I do that, I'm gonna start prepping my bows and my decor. I think that the decor is gonna be a very important part of these ears because it's gonna cover up all of the bad parts about them. I'm gonna start with making my bows. I absolutely love this ribbon. It is so pretty. It's got flowers all over it and it's really iridescent. I make all of my bows by hand. So I wrap it around my middle finger a couple of times and then around my thumb, and your thumb decides how large the bow is going to be. So this is going to be a really big bow, this is going to be a regular size bow, and you can make them smaller. So I want a regular size bow. I'm going to go like that and then bring it through my hand, and that's the center of our bow. And then the tail comes up and goes through and then pull, and it creates our bow. I cover up the wire and where the zip ties go in with a little piece of felt. I only put glue on the zip tie and then I just press it right to it. I don't put it all over the headband because then we won't be able to move our ears up and down on the headband. The base of our ears are done and dry, and now I'm gonna bend the wire on the inside to make them look a little more realistic. There we go, and now they're bent nicely so that they look more real. They're turning out a lot better than I thought they were going to. I didn't buy clips for the backs of the bows, so I am just gonna hot glue them right to it. I recommend getting bows that have a clip so that you can just clip them on and remove them, but I'm not too picky about it. All of the ears on my Etsy shop though, the bows are removable. Did get some of these little gems. I'm just gonna take some of these very light pink ones and I'm gonna decorate throughout them. I'm gonna put a couple here in the front. I think I'm gonna do 2 both sides. And then maybe the inside, cover up a little bit of that paint, kind of divert the eyes from the paint. Now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna glue those on. Normally my gems are held on with super glue, but I didn't buy any for this project because it didn't feel 100% necessary. I do recommend you use a stronger glue than just hot glue or the gems may fall off. Here is where we are now. They are looking pretty cute actually. They're white on the back, white and pink on the front, and I'm considering if I want to do a little naturey moment by putting a little bit of the green on them, but to be honest with you, I think I like them the way that they are. I'm gonna cut a few of these flowers off. I'm gonna see if I like the way that they look, and if I do, then we'll use them, and if I don't, then we just won't glue them on. You know what, actually, I kind of like that. I like that it's a little bit busy because it covers up more of that paint. We know that the paint is there, we can see that it's there, but it's not the main focal point. And I think I like that. I'm pretty sure I'm sold on those. So I'm gonna glue them down. I'm just gonna have them peeking out from behind the bow. I do believe we are done. Wow! Love the flowers, I love the bows. They're a little more busy than what I usually do for my ears. I do think that the busyness is kind of necessary just because of the way that the paint looks. It didn't turn out perfectly. Thank you so much for watching this week's video. Please make sure to comment, leave a like, maybe subscribe if you like these kinds of crafts. I also have some coloring sheets on my Instagram page that you can access, and I want to do a series where I create ears based on your sketches. So color them however you want. There's a plethora of different types of animals on there, and you can just color them and send them to me on Instagram. While you're there, drop me a follow on Instagram, and I'm also on TikTok and Etsy. I'm a small business owner and selling ears is sort of my passion. Thank you for watching, thank you for consuming my content. I'm so honored, and I will see you next week.